So we're going to try something slightly different today. 2 movies outside of my comfort zone, one that you can see in cinemas and one that you can see on Netflix. Welcome to another movie review video. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel every week, and then movie reviews just like this one here at the weekend. I will leave a playlist of my movie reviews, which are always spoiler free, linked up above in case you are looking for something to watch this weekend. And I do review movies that are in the cinemas as well as movies that come to Netflix, so I thought why not do a comparison here today. So today I'm going to be talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife and Red Notice. Ghostbusters Afterlife just came out into cinemas and I saw it here last Sunday, and I saw it in the cinema. And then Red Notice came to Netflix 2 weeks ago now, 2 Fridays ago, and I also saw it at the beginning of this week, and so I thought I would compare and contrast because both movies kind of fall into that actiony genre that is really definitely outside of my comfort zone. If you've been following the channel for a while now, you will know that. But yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife I was always going to see in cinemas. It's one of those that I've seen trailered and trailered and trailered and trailered and trailered, and it's got Paul Rudd in it, and I will basically watch anything with Paul Rudd in it. I just loved him since Clueless, and I loved his addition to Friends, and so I was excited to see this one. So my general sort of overall with Ghostbusters Afterlife, I'm glad I saw it on the big screen because I think that the special effects would have looked not as good on a smaller screen had I watched it on my laptop, phone, wherever you consume your streaming movies. I just felt like the pacing was a bit off, and I know I've said this for other sort of actiony type movies, and maybe it's my sort of view of pacing because I read a lot of books and I watch a lot of rom-coms, and so we kind of have to get into things a little bit quicker. But I just felt like it was a movie of 2 halves, where the first half was quite slow, quite boring, quite what's going on here, you're kind of just giving me a lot of information. And then the second half of the movie I was like, oh, this is Ghostbusters, okay, I've got that feeling of Ghostbusters 1 and 2 here. There's a lot of Easter eggs in here, there's a lot of things for fans of the first 2 Ghostbusters films. There's a lot of a lot put in there to honour Harold Ramis and that kind of like Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd feeling that you get with those first 2 films. That is in the second half of the film. So much so that during the first half of the film, I'm not somebody who gets a drink and a popcorn at the cinema. That's just not my style. Occasionally I will take a snack in with me. Occasionally I'll take my water bottle in with me. But normally I just go to watch a film. I actually left to try and go and get a drink and a popcorn during the first half of this film because I had the feeling that it would get into more action. So going back to those special effects, yes, the special effects were definitely really good. I don't feel like there was as many ghosts in this film as there were in the first Ghostbusters movie. And so again, it was that's why the first half didn't feel like a Ghostbusters film. And I get that it's not trying to be the original Ghostbusters. I get that this is Ghostbusters Afterlife, but if you're going to have these people attached to it and you're going to have this name attached to it, I just feel like it does have to go towards that feeling of Ghostbusters. But yeah, special effects were great, Paul Rudd was great. The sort of plot revolves around a mother and her 2 kids going out to her father's farm because he has passed away. They can't make rent on the apartment that they're currently in, and so going to this farm makes perfect sense. But the thing that really struck me from the very beginning of the film was how rude they are to each other. These kids were so rude to their mum, but then their mum was rude to them in return. And to be honest, I found it really, really distracting. And I was just like, why are these people speaking to each other this way? I get that they're in a stressful situation, but even in a stressful situation, there's room to, be kind to one another and have common courtesy for one another. And so when she started being rude back to her kids, I'm like, it's no wonder the kids are being rude to her. But that shouldn't be the thing that strikes me about a film is how rude the characters are to one another, unless it's something specifically meant to be funny like that, and the rudeness is like part of the humour. So that's not great that was the thing that kind of struck me from that part of the film. And then it almost kind of took Paul Rudd to come along and actually say some kind words, and they started being slightly nicer to each other. But yeah, so I would say if you are a fan of the originals, there's a lot of Easter eggs in there for you. There's a lot of nods to the originals. There's a lot of nods to that nostalgia. The CGI was good, but it takes a long time to get into the action. So go in with a pocket full of patience. And if kids and parents being rude to one another bothers you as much as it bothers me, maybe wait and watch this one on streaming. Would I go and watch it again? No, I wouldn't. Would I sort of take friends to go and see this again? No, I wouldn't. Would I recommend paying your cinema going money to go and see this one? It's difficult, isn't it? Because the special effects definitely do look good on the big screen. It would have been interesting to have been able to see this in an enhanced format, but that option just wasn't there for me. I mean, it's not my choice, but probably this one benefits from being on the big screen as opposed to being on the small screen. So yes, you should pay your cinema going money to go and see it. Would I have done it? No, absolutely not. So then moving on to Red Notice. I would have much preferred to have seen this one on the big screen. I know that it did have a very limited release, which, you know, Netflix often does if they want to be considered for those Oscars. And so I'm kind of like, where was it showing? I would have loved to have seen this one on the big screen, because again, I felt like the special effects would have benefited from being on the big screen. However, compared to Ghostbusters, the special effects were just like, compared to Ghostbusters, there was some parts where you were like, that CGI bull is clearly a very CGI bull. Think about when Han Solo steps on / over Jabba the Hutt in the sort of most recent remastering of Star Wars. Like, it wasn't great. The special effects were not great. Now, I am a fan of Ryan Reynolds. I am a fan of The Rock. I've seen them in both comedy movies and action type movies, and I like them in both. This film, the Ryan Reynolds was channeling a lot of Hitman's Bodyguard for me, and The Rock was channeling a lot of Jumanji. I feel like even at one point he was in the exact same outfit as he wore in one of the Jumanji movies, like the kind of jungle trousers, shirt, gloves type of thing. Like, did he just go from one set to the other? I don't know. Now, Gal Gadot, I've only seen in Wonder Woman and hosting SNL, and I didn't like Wonder Woman, and I wasn't a massive fan of her hosting SNL, so she kind of perhaps is not my favourite actress on the screen. And I don't think that she brought an awful lot to this film. I feel like this film was trying a bit too hard, so I think I definitely would have given it more attention had I watched it on the big screen, and so it definitely suffered from being a straight to streaming movie as opposed to me being able to sit and watch it in the cinema without my snacks and drink. And I think I would have definitely paid more attention to it, because there's stuff about kind of historical stuff and things that you kind of have to pay attention to, and I just don't think that a film straight to streaming like that is going to ever have my full attention. It's not going to happen. If you're in your home, you're there, you're leaving to make another cup of tea, you've got your phone, there's somebody chatting to you, you know, you've got to go and change the tumble dryer, like, that's what watching things at home is like. Whereas watching things in the cinema, you can give it your full attention. And so I think, unfortunately, this film did suffer from that. I would have loved to have seen it on the big screen, because I think it would have looked very visually pleasing on the big screen, because it's definitely very crisp and clear, and there's a lot of very intense colour, a lot of golds and a lot of reds. But yeah, I enjoyed the acting. I didn't have any trouble with the acting. As I say, I think maybe we're just recognising the fact that Gal Gadot is not my favourite, but I do like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, and so it has been incredibly well cast. It's another one that was fairly violent, but again, because I wasn't seeing it in the cinema, it kind of washed over me a little more than the violence in Bond did. And definitely compared to Ghostbusters, it was more violent because there was more guns and fighting and, you know, pushing people off of things in the Bond style. When I say I feel like it was trying too hard, I think it was trying too hard to be that kind of balance of action and comedy like you have in The Hitman's Bodyguard, like you have in Bond to a certain extent. And so I think it just suffered from the fact that it was trying a bit too hard. So would I watch it again? No. Would I recommend it to people who enjoy these actors? Probably. However, would I recommend it to somebody like me who it's not normally their type of film? Probably not. I would have really liked to have given my opinion on it by seeing it in the cinema. But can I recommend it as something to stream this weekend? Personally, no. There are better films to stream on Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, etc. But yeah, it's probably a no on a recommendation from me. However, if you are into action films and you're missing being able to see action films in the cinema, it does fill that hole. It does fill that gap. And so, yeah, let me know in comments, as always, if there is a particular movie you would like to hear my thoughts on here next week. I do know we have a new Disney film coming out. I am going to the cinema literally tonight as I am filming this to watch 2 films back to back. So there are movie reviews coming your way. And fear not, even among all the madness of Vlogmas, etc., there will be movie reviews coming every Sunday for you, and possibly bonus movie reviews in between in the month of December. Fear not, I have plenty of cinema visits booked in, and I am very excited to go and watch that new Disney film. So yes, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed so that you don't miss out on my bookish content coming your way in the week. No matter what we do with Vlogmas, still haven't decided yet, and movie reviews for you next weekend. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss them. And yes, I will see you with my movie reviews next Sunday. Thanks for watching.